It seems like these types of stories are starting to become so prolific, you could almost do a video a day on this stuff. But today I wanted to talk about the state of Oregon. And I know that some of you are probably thinking, you know, this is Oregon, this is what happens in Oregon. But hear me out on this, because a lot of these things kind of start in some of these states, and then you start seeing them spread to other states. Okay, so the state of Oregon has effectively shut down small farms and market gardens on a large scale. And they're actually sending out cease and desist letters to farms, and they're using satellite technology to find their victims and then send them these letters and say, you can't operate. And they're doing it in the name of water conservation, groundwater protection. So there are two different laws that they're using to this effect. And I wanted to just mention those laws with a couple of these cases so that you get an idea of how they're being interpreted and utilized to shut down small farms. Okay, so I found a court case that was filed in January of this year. And it basically, in the National Review, there was an article that said, Oregon's government and dairy industry join forces against small farmers. And what they're doing in the state of Oregon is they've redefined what a CAFO is. And this doesn't just apply to small dairy farmers. This applies to people who have chicken houses, who have goat farms, basically anybody who has a barn or a facility that has a gravel or concrete floor. I will actually read to you what the definition is, and then we'll talk about how it's been impacting some people. According to Oregon, a CAFO, or a confined animal feeding operation, CAFO, the state of Oregon defines CAFOs as the concentrated feeding or holding of animals or poultry, including but not limited to a horse, cattle, sheep, or swine feeding areas, dairy confinement areas, and poultry and egg production facilities where the surface has been prepared with concrete, rock, or fibrous material to support animals in wet weather. That is what they define as a CAFO. And so what's happening in Oregon, and why the small dairies have filed a lawsuit against the state, and really I think from the list that you just heard me read, anybody who's producing eggs, it doesn't matter the size of the operation. You could have 2 milking cows. Okay, so here's an example for you. Sarah King, who owns Godspeed Hollow Farm in Newberg, Oregon, has a pickup station that's just 100 feet in length. She has an 11-acre property and keeps things pretty simple. She has 3 milking cows. She's been shut down for being called a CAFO. But because she has